Hey, everybody. My name is Roham Gharegozlou. I'm really excited to be here. We've had a really big year. And tell you what, if you followed us, if you're a part of our community this time last year, shoot me a message on Twitter, just at Roham, R-O-H-A-M. You don't have to say anything fancy, but I'll read every single one. And I'll definitely give you a follow. Because the thing that gets me excited is that as big as last year was, the year that's coming up is looking 1,000 times bigger. It's looking bigger than I could have imagined, and that's because of you. That's because of the Flow community. Just look at the energy around Flow Festival. It feels like early Top Shot, but times 1,000 different kinds of projects, some of which are mainnet, some of which are building, part of the 6,000 developer accounts or so. And lots of ideas I'm hearing of teams coming together just for the first time, seeing the energy on Flow, realizing that, hey, we're for real and that we're not going anywhere. And then deciding, well, maybe my idea makes sense on Flow instead. And that's exciting to see. I think people are just realizing we're doing something different here at Flow, and that this community is going to be unstoppable. Because, when you first look at Flow, when you first see, and it was probably because of NBA Top Shot, you think that it's just for big brands, just because we have the biggest brands. You think that Flow is just about NFTs, just because we have the best NFTs. But the reality is that Flow is about mainstream consumer products. And I think the thread that brings everybody here together is actually the products we want to build, the kind of communities we want to build. Because I know for a fact, one big reason people build on Flow is because the protocol, because we want to build products anybody can use. We don't want to deal with the high cost of certain networks. We don't want to deal with user experience difficulties in layer 2 or other networks. We know that Flow's job is to make it easy. Flow's job is to help developers build products that people love to use. And it's to help make those people feel safe and feel like they can engage with these products without having to learn a bunch of new things either. Another reason people build on Flow is because they want to be part of this community. It's absolutely incredible. 2.4 million user accounts, more than 500 teams building, more than 6,000 developer accounts, 10 million transactions on, more than 10 million transactions on mainnet. And everything's just getting started. And the reality is, it's not just the same kind of team. There's incredible diversity. We have crypto native folks. We have Fortune 500 companies building on Flow. I mean, you've heard about Shopify, you've heard about Google. More news coming on both of those fronts. But something you might not have heard about, and we did the math here, just the startups building on Flow have raised over $1 billion from venture capitalists. They've raised over $700 million just this year. And that's equity capital. It doesn't include anything that Dapper Labs has raised or invested. It doesn't include any of the fungible token drops and governance token sales and whatnot that are starting to happen on Flow. Doesn't include any of the NFT sales. I wanted to actually make a huge congratulations on that point to Blocktail for their fungible token launch on Flow. I believe the first one. And also pretty impressed that Blocktail has been able to build a non-custodial wallet, a decentralized exchange with a governance token, and now an NFT marketplace, decentralized, all on Flow. So absolutely incredible work there. Congratulations. And while I'm calling people out, might as well call out Chain Monsters, absolutely amazing Genesis drop. I love seeing companies and teams build a product and then sell the NFT directly to the customer, directly to the community. And it's really cool to see just the energy forming there. Really impressed to see the Hoodlums drop, first generative profile picture project on Flow. Really excited to see Ballers come out right after it as well. Loving the communities that are being formed. I wanted to call out Record Shop and the Dr. Seuss app as well by Tibbles, because these are really high quality, mainstream ready products. Dr. Seuss app is on mobile. Really, really cool. They're both live right now. So go join the Discords and try to figure out how to get into those communities. I want to call out that there are more fungible token launches coming. And something I wanted to highlight, just because Dapper Labs hasn't done a governance token launch or a particular thing on Flow doesn't mean that A, it's not possible, and B, it's not a good idea. Flow is a Turing complete computer. You can build anything on top of it. And if you create something that's new and that adds value to customers, we will support you. We'll get behind you every step of the way. We sometimes, as Dapper Labs, do things that are um, the for example, let's talk about Top Shot. The reason we built Top Shot the way we did is because most of the time we were building Top Shot, Flow didn't even exist. The Flow client library didn't exist. That's all changed now, which is why I'm excited to announce we're working to allow Top Shot withdrawals of Top Shot NFTs from Dapper wallets into any kind of wallet on Flow starting this week. Of course, expanding throughout the rest of Q4. We want people to take their stuff anywhere they go. NFTs on Flow are open, and Flow is built to be one of the most decentralized networks in existence. Just step by step by step. It's amazing to see the ecosystem emerge on Flow. And this is the coolest part. Once you take an NFT out of, let's say, the Top Shot marketplace, or you take it into the non-custodial Flow ecosystem, you can do anything with it. There's dozens of apps that are being built right now, from collateralization to fractionalization, lending, borrowing, etc. All kinds of utilities for NFTs. And you can imagine millions of different kinds of applications being built on top, new kinds of games, new kinds of marketplaces, new kinds of social networks. That's what being on an open network enables. It's the ability for a user to take their stuff anywhere, and the ability for developers to build anything for them. And on Flow, what makes all of this possible, what makes it all compatible, and what means that a user can start with credit cards, but then end by entering this non-custodial magical universe, is the Flow Client Library, FCL. Flow Client Library is our upgrade, or is the Flow upgrade to Web3. And I think it's the future of all of Web3, certainly the future of Flow, because FCL doesn't force the user to pick between centralization and decentralization. They let the user start anywhere on the funnel, and then work their way to self-custody, work their way to hardware wallet, secure multi-party computation, whatever they want. And that's exciting. FCL doesn't force the user to have a browser extension, but if they want to, they can. And I'm really excited to announce there's an absolutely incredible team building a Flow totally non-custodial browser extension wallet as we speak. The other thing people don't realize about Flow is that the Flow keys can be stored right on the phone's secure enclave. And so there's another fantastic open source team that's building a version of FCL on mobile where you can store your keys natively inside the phone's secure hardware device. And that's incredibly game-changing. No other crypto wallet functions that way. Much, much more secure. And so that's why all Dapper Labs projects in the future, NFL, UFC, La Liga, they'll all be built with FCL. We're putting money where our mouth is, and we're encouraging the community to do the same. If all apps on Flow adopt FCL, there'll be massive intercompatibility and very easy for users to bring whatever wallet to whatever application, use whatever payment method, and stay safe and secure the whole way. So that's cool. And one more thing. I want to talk about Flow Token. A lot of the machinery around Flow tokens is going to be switched on over the next few days and weeks. A lot of it has been switched on over the past year or so. You'll hear some of the details from Layne, but I wanted to touch specifically on the user experience of it all. Because here's the thing. To a new user coming to a new crypto application for the first time, of course, they have to be allowed to engage with it the way they know how. We got to make it as smooth and as easy as possible. And Flow makes it really easy for wallets to pay transaction fees on their users' behalf. By the way that works is the more transaction fees there are on a network, the less inflation is created, the less new supply of the Flow token is created, such that at some point in the future, when there's enough transaction fees, there will be no new Flow tokens created. Now Flow turns into a fixed supply asset. That's powerful. The other thing that Flow makes it easy to do is for the application to create new accounts on its user's behalf. I remember every user account on Flow needs a small amount of Flow locked up as minimum balance to pay for storage. And so as more and more accounts are created, more and more Flow gets locked up in these user accounts. And the user doesn't even have to know. But what we've seen is that as users become more and more expert, as they understand the value of NFTs, as they engage in the Flow ecosystem and economy, they actually want to hold on to Flow token. They want to spend Flow tokens. And we're seeing that the most interesting NFTs, the most interesting products are starting to drop on Flow denominated in Flow token. And Dapper Labs is going to be dropping some of our NFTs in Flow tokens as well. And I wanted to call out Vive and Versus here for showing the way, because these platforms have been using Flow token as part of decentralized marketplaces for months now. And they've shown the whole ecosystem how powerful and incredible it can be. So I'm really excited about that. You'll see some of our best content coming into the Flow non-custodial ecosystem, and being engaged and being part of this whole universe that we're creating together. So get excited about it. You know, I'm way over time. So I just want to end by saying thank you. Thank you very much for being part of the Flow community. You're making the world a more open place. You're helping make people happier and more connected to each other. And that's absolutely incredible. I'm super excited to do it alongside you. Reach out to me anytime. As I shared on Twitter, I'm ROHAM. And get in touch. Enjoy the rest of the festivities. And super excited to build the future with you. Thank you.
Hi, folks. I'm Layne, and I'm here to welcome you to Flow Fest. We can cue the slides, please. Awesome. So, hello, everybody. Great to see you. Welcome to Flow Fest. I'm Layne, and I'm going to be your tour guide today. Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. This is going to be a pretty wild ride. So for those of you who might be new to Flow, I'm going to give you a 20-second recap. Here's what you have to know. Flow was designed for people like you, creators and innovators who push boundaries and want to see their own piece of something special in the world. It was conceived of following the launch of CryptoKitties and the subsequent toll that took on the Ethereum network. Flow is now home to its flagship DApp, NBA Top Shot, which alone has run over 13 million transactions and created one of the over 2 million accounts that are on Flow today. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Flow has over 3,000 independent developers building over 600 projects that span gaming, collectibles, art, music, sports, DeFi, and more. And there are 5 things that you really need to know about Flow. The first is that it performs at consumer scale, and we're seeing that in production right now. The second, it was designed for digital assets and has a native programming language called Cadence, and that makes building apps for digital assets intuitive and secure. Third, it's specifically architected to support levels of performance and participation that ensure permissionless network operation and decentralization. Fourth, it was designed in the 21st century, and so it's sustainable, using only 1 gigawatt-hour of energy a year compared to Ethereum's 53,000. And that's something that we considered table stakes in launching something in this generation. And last, it was designed by and for people who want to shape the future of assets and digital experiences. So very good to have all of you here. And with that aside, I'd like to welcome you to Flow Fest. This is all about building out the ecosystem and showcasing what the best teams in the space have been working on. But we're going to get to that in a second. First, I want to talk a little bit about the why and what of decentralization and how it's shaping up on Flow. So decentralization is what makes Flow an open, globally accessible, community-owned, permissionless network where people can trust that their assets will exist and be honored by the network and the community forever, regardless of Dapper Labs' involvement. Decentralization is a process, it's not a single point in time, and it's the process of involving all the different stakeholders to define how the platform should work and serve them securely and performantly so that they can trust the generational value is built here. We break that down into 5 different factors that are important to consider. The first is participation, knowing that anybody can join the network. The second is access, and that's knowledge that your transactions are going to be included. The third is security, knowing that what's happened will never be undone. And of course, trust, expectation that the network continues to function the way you anticipate. And something critically important, especially in Flow, where we've pulled out specifically the job of verification, knowing that anyone can check an action taken at any time and point out if it's valid or invalid. And we're making some really great progress towards these things. So Flow is designed for participation. And as I mentioned, it specifically has a verification node to ensure there's room to participate in checking transactions. Access nodes are opening up right now for everyone to run. Flow has been alive and well and preserving many teams' beloved moments, including NBA Top Shot since June 2020. And as of last week, over 68% of consensus nodes are now run by people who aren't Dapper Labs. That's something we're really proud of. And also, as of last week, community contract deployers are being added daily. But like I said, this is a process and there's lots of room for all of you to get involved in shaping that process through Discord and the forum. So please definitely start the conversation. And part of that process is something that we're already seeing a lot of you contributing to in the open source community of Flow. Over the last month, we've been running something called Flip Fest. And Flip Fest is a multi-month endeavor where teams are building on, over 500 of you are building over 26 open source issues that are really going to contribute to the development of Flow. And we've already seen lots of submissions, really great work coming in through there. Would encourage anyone to get involved in the open source community if that's your, if that's something you're into. We're very happy to have you. But all of this is coming together to show that there's a lot to see on Flow, including all of the projects here and many that that are launching and aren't even on this page yet. Hopefully you see some that you recognize, and if you don't, now is the perfect time to experience them in ways that you maybe wouldn't have before. And FlowFest is going to have some really sweet drops. There's going to be over 30 drops going live, over 6 marketplaces with over 20 partners. Lots to see. And the best way to get a sampling of that is going to be with mystery packs. Mystery packs are supported by over 20 partners that are launching alongside other projects for FlowFest and doing their own drops, including common, rare, legendary NFTs, and all of that is a shared journey through Flowverse. And the thing that ties it together is, of course, the Flow token. And Flow is used for all the actions that you see here, staking, transaction fees, collateral, minimum storage balances, and payments, of course. But I think most excitingly, it's going to provide you the ability to engage with all the FlowFest, the different partners that are accepting Flow, including some that we're really happy to share with you. The My NFT projects, including Voxel Night and Racing Time, the Fabricant, on Vive, we're seeing Melos and Toongo go live with Flow payments, Matrix World, Collection, NFT Genius, Jam, Rare Rooms, and Race Day. So those last ones, some projects from Big Labs. Lots of really exciting stuff coming out, and all of them supporting Flow, which is really is your gateway to accessing the ecosystem. But with all of the exciting stuff that's happening on Flow, and with the project progress that's being made, not only for applications and drops and things to experience, as well as bringing the network out into the world, there's still a lot of untapped opportunities. And so we're actively looking for folks to contribute in lots of these areas. DAO projects, platforms like Snapshot, Finance Vote, Treasury Tools, SourceCred, Aragon, DAOstack, Colony. Would love to see people building those out. Social tools like PartyBid and group buying are really interesting. There's tons of room for utility infrastructure, and that's things like what I'm personally very interested in, bridging on and off chain interactions and helping people redeem NFTs for physical assets. That's going to be a really interesting part of adoption, and sharing these things with friends that you probably have who are maybe still dipping their toe into NFTs and the world of crypto. But of course, that also includes burning and minting tools, airdrop infrastructure, Bitcoin collateralization tools, fractionalization tools, and making your own NFT. In addition to that, yeah, really aren't any shortage of opportunities. We have social tokens that we would love to see come alive for minting, managing, and exchanging social tokens. Wallets definitely need to be user experience first. For those of you who've had the pleasure of working with Dapper Wallet, you know that it really is seamless, and Blocked is another option on Flow that we're really proud of. more wallets, the better. It gives people a way to understand their assets and in a way that is contextual to them. And so we'd love to see really user experience first driven ones, non-custodial wallets, and mobile first. Going to keep going. Lots of opportunity. Oracles and bridges. There will be a world where lots of chains exist. Flow is its own blockchain, but of course we believe in playing nicely with others. The world of crypto and decentralization and digital assets is far too big for any single party, and so different products and protocols working together is going to be really important. And so oracles and bridges that tie the world together is something that we really embrace, and we would love to see bridges to Ethereum and other chains. And then, of course, crypto native themes. Showcase to people what's cool about this and what's uniquely possible when you're building on a decentralized network. And what all of these things have in common is that they really are redefining how value is created and who it accrues to. So whatever your idea, it's really welcome here. And I challenge all of you to push the boundaries of what you're seeing, because Flow really is home to the creators and innovators who will shape digital assets and experiences, and that includes all of you. So we're very glad you're here. Thank you for joining the future on Flow.